We're only talking
Okay.
about important things, Ty.
It's true. We have so much time and we have so much time for talking about important things. Um, I'm going to come back and get you to introduce yourself later on. But first, I want to hear about this leadership workshop.
Yeah, so I did this leadership workshop. The whole process of getting into it, I'll leave out. But essentially, what I got from it is that I am a bank, and every time I do something that I say I'm going to do, I'm essentially keeping my word to myself and I'm putting money
Mm,
into the bank.
mm,
And the moment I say I'm going to do something and I don't do it, then I'm not keeping my word to myself and I'm taking money out of my bank.
mm,
So then it's kind of like, well, the Bank of Divya is infinite and it all goes back into the level of trust and belief I have in myself.
mm.
And all of that feeds into like my gut instincts, my ability to make a snap judgment, make a quick decision. But the more I take out, so the more I say I'm going to do something and don't do it, then it, you know, makes everything else muddier or more challenging. And then that's really where, and I do see the connection. Like I saw it pretty much immediately. And
Yeah.
also, anytime I get into a place of, I keep saying I want to do this thing and I'm not doing it. Why? And instead of the
Mm,
why, focusing on this is affecting how I view myself. So let's get to the breakdown. Let's get to what are some pieces of it I can do. So those
yeah.
are some things to think about. And then also, I think what I got from it is that it's it's not just keeping my word to myself. It's how quickly I move from when I say I'm going to do something to engaging in even the first part of doing it.
Yeah.
And
What's the smallest step that you can take to like make
right,
this thing real?
right. And I can be pretty risk averse,
Mm,
especially when it comes to major, I don't know. Sometimes I take big risks and big steps, whether it's a major life decision or financial decision, whatever the
mhm,
case. Sometimes it's a lot more challenging,
mm.
like what we've been working on together.
Yeah.
Consultancy, naming, branding. For some reason, like the concept of it, the idea of stepping into this role, huge life decision, but
Mhm.
it makes sense. But the other large part of what it should actually be, what it should actually look like, and the process of then consolidating that enough to get it signed and stamped,
Mhm.
very difficult. I
Yeah.
can't
And
conceive of
and
it.
and different types of difficult in my opinion, from my
Mhm.
perspective, it's like there's emotionally difficult or there's like like you're talking about the Bank of Divya. I have the Bank of Thai. Every time I make a commitment and then come back and redeposit into the Bank of Thai, I like make good on that word. It reiterates that I am capable and I can do this thing. And it's like there are different accounts for that. There are, like yesterday I was kind of separating out or compartmentalizing the emotional energy that it takes to do something versus the like logistical energy, and realizing like, look, computers are really good at doing this logistical stuff. I need to get a flight from this place to this place. Cool. I can do it like that. It doesn't take that much, but the emotional energy that it takes to decide that I'm going to be in a new place from this date to this date, like commitment, decision. And I feel like in the work that you're doing right now, and like setting up this company and all of these things, the actual tasks are very
Not that
much,
hard.
yeah, they're
Not
in
that
your
hard.
realm of
It's getting
capability
online.
easily.
It's typing a bunch of things up. It's sending an application. Okay, pay a fee. You'll get a response, and then there's another. There's clearly laid out plans, but then I have to live with whatever name I come up with for at least a year. And if that's the name that I'm going to be telling people, then it's going to be for longer than a year. That's what's going to be associated with me.
Yeah. So that's your emotional, reputational, all of these things that
Yes. I was talking to a friend who has a child, a new
yeah.
baby, a fresh baby.
Wait, can you say that again in a different way? I don't understand. Your friend is a baby, or they have
My
a new
friend
baby?
has a baby,
Okay.
a new baby in this world. And it took them months to decide on the name.
Yeah.
Because names hold power, they have strength, they have meaning. Very often people like to find the link between their personality and the meaning of their name.
Yeah.
Some people connect with it, some people don't, but names have power in that sense. And obviously I was like, well, this business is going to be my baby. I have to name it something that I want. And it can't be ridiculous. It can't be a flight of fancy. It needs to convey what I want to convey, or it needs to be something that I can hear over and over again and be fine associating it with myself.
Yeah. This is such an interesting, like, I have both sides of this alive in me. I have the like, okay, so in startup land, names matter, but they don't matter that much, especially for getting started. Like, they can be a real barrier, and to just pick something and move forward, like to just go, all right, I'm going to call this venture Trivial Pursuits. Maybe they're trivial pursuits and maybe they're not, whatever. Cool. We've got a name. Next thing. And then you figure out what you're like. I like this idea of clarity through action. You do something and it gives you clarity, and then you can come back and reiterate. And like, it's just an effective process a lot of the time. But then there's this world of, so that's one bucket. That's like doing things efficiently and just like putting a name out there and moving forward. In some domains, I think that's the right way to go about it. Then there's this world of like, names actually really have an impact. Like, I'm really interested in the etymology of words, like how using a sound for something in a concept kind of moves through a society and moves through people's brains and is like associated with all of these things that it's really hard to quantify. So it's harder to have a conversation about it. And I think you're right. And it gets even more complicated when it has to be associated with you, because you're and I kind of mean the royal you here, but like, you specifically are a complex, interesting individual who like has a lot of opinions about the world and like sees the world in a particular way, because you have all of this life experience, right? And all this domain experience. So like, every word will have layers of connotations. And the more you can see those connotations, the more complicated the naming feels.
Yes. I think I am trying to fit a very large, many layered idea
Hmm.
into two words,
Yeah.
twowords.com.
Yeah.
And uh, we have a dessert here in Singapore called kueh.
Okay.
It's a rainbow layered, um, glutinous, like glutinous rice flour. Maybe it's pandan flavored.
Uh-huh.
You can peel them off layer by layer.
Yeah.
We can't use cognitive kueh, can we? Kueh,
We fucking
kueh,
can. I think we can. Seriously, I was gonna like, okay, so the two thoughts I
kueh
have
learning.
is that it's an impossible task to fit the nuance of your life experience and what you want to deliver into two words. It doesn't
Mhm.
fit in two words, right? And it doesn't need to. Maybe we just make it really simple. Like cognitive quiz is great. The question I have is like, what connotations do people have with Quay, and will they think it's fun and cute and sophisticated, or will they brush it off as like, oh, that's stupid?
I don't know. I think I could use kueh, like an image of kueh as part of the logo.
Uh-huh. The metaphor is really cool too, because
Yes.
um, actually, okay, I'll explain the metaphor part a little bit, and I know that you probably know this already, but like, you know, neurodivergent brains often have a lot of different layers and see a lot of different layers simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what's so fun about having a brain that is like,
Mm-hmm.
here are all of the different possibilities of how you could view this thing, and there's no right path in my brain, but like there are all of these different paths you could explore,
Right.
right? So the different layers could be.
Different paths, both in perspective and also my work has been not just in supporting, like not just in understanding neurodiversity in action, but also supporting it through lessons, curriculum, design, environmental design.
Mm,
And that also requires layers of access.
mm,
So it's you have people who view things through many different layers and lenses, and then you're creating scenarios and situations that offer multiple points of access so that it's as inclusive as possible.
yeah. Yeah. Different ways of tapping into meeting people at different levels of where they're at,
Hmm.
meeting people in different, because that's what education should be about, right?
Right. And that's also how social interaction
Mm,
happens. It's human to human negotiation has to happen at different levels with different perspectives, making space for different points of negotiation
mm,
because we're all eminently different people and
mm.
no two people have the same lens or perspective or truth.
Yeah. Yeah. And we all assume that we do, which is
Right.
hilarious.
Right.
Um, can I take a moment to um, get some basic details of Div,
Mm-hmm.
like what's your name, where were you before? I want a little bit of context for anyone that is listening and is like, I like where this conversation is going, and how do I know that you know what you're talking about?
Well, I'm Divya. My name is on this video. Um, well, I grew up in Singapore
Mm,
in the early 90s, and I
mm,
know it was the best time. There were little uncle shops everywhere. I used to walk home from school for 30, 45 minutes just because I could take the long way, stop by the little
Oh.
shops, get little biscuits with sugar swirls on top of them, and go for
What
adventures in canal systems.
what flavor were the little biscuits?
They're, well, it's different colored sugar, but it was just sugar. So it's little brown, they're called gem biscuits. They were little brown biscuits with a colored swirl on top.
Cute.
Very cute,
And
still yummy.
and the different colored sugar was different flavors, or it was just a visual
No,
thing, and then okay,
it's blue
just
flavor
colored
and yellow flavor.
sugar flavor.
Sugar
Okay.
flavor. And then I moved to New York, well, upstate New
Mm.
York, for undergrad.
Oh, cool.
School was a journey in Singapore. It didn't fit with me so well. I didn't fit into it so well.
Mm.
I was, I think, a little too oppositional to being told to do work and practice and take home homework and learn a certain way. And I didn't necessarily know how to communicate that homework was difficult. It was like an overwhelming task that I just didn't want to do.
Yeah.
And practicing, unless I had someone standing over me yelling, didn't happen.
Yeah.
Unless I found something that I wanted to learn and then I would teach myself stuff. So
Mm.
that was the only way that I was getting, it was information that I learned by myself, things I
Mhm.
learned in school, if they were taught in a way that I enjoyed, and then everything in between was maybe a mishmash that I either got or didn't get. Um, but the education system here is very rigid. So New York, America, liberal arts college, a plethora of choices. I got to pretty much do whatever I wanted.
This is like
And
1920 that you're moving.
20, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I aced college in a really nice way, which was fun after failing for quite some time, even while
Yeah.
I knew that I was intelligent and
Yeah.
capable. Uh,
I know you, and I know you're intelligent, and I guess it also doesn't surprise me that you struggled with homework, and like that if you wanted to learn something, you would go and learn it, and if you were told to do it, you'd be like,
no,
no, thank you.
yeah. Uh, and I think it took particular teachers. That's what I noticed. It
Mm.
took teachers who saw that I needed something a little different and catered to that
Mm.
and made space for it, guided me. And
Mm.
those teachers and those periods still stand out just as much as the bad periods, like the periods that did not feel good.
Yeah. Was there
And then,
anything about, like, is there a particular teacher that you're thinking of?
yes, my fifth, sixth grade science teacher got me into robotics.
Ooh.
And there was just two girls. It was just, so all girls school, but it was
Uh-huh.
just two of us that would stay back with her and do the robotics camp and like extra robotics things. And damn, life would have been so different if I'd stayed in that. But that was, I mean, that science teacher, Miss Lee,
Shout
made a
out
difference,
Miss Lee.
and kept
Mm.
me going even when other things in science were not great. Like I loved science.
Mhm.
I wasn't great at titration. but I loved biology and I loved robotics. So just being able to discover that was huge.
Mm. Do you think she saw something in you, or like did she notice that you were not doing well with homework, but that if it was something that you liked, like,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Because she was firm and strict.
Hmm.
She wasn't like a sweet lady. She had this really school marm, firm mien to her. But when we did, robotics and like the camps and things, she also came alive
Mm.
in a different way.
Mm. I love this
It's
definition
so stark.
of, yeah, I love this definition of science as play.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, broadly, play is doing something without knowing the outcome.
Yes.
And when you do science, you're like tinkering, you're trying things, you don't know if it's going to work or not.
Mm-hmm.
And the image I have is like you and this other little girl and Miss Lee basically being, it's like at different stages, at different levels, but you're all coming alive like, oh, let's play.
Yes. Yeah, science. But science is the one subject that involved much more play and experimentation than anything else. Uh, and it was definitely something that kept me in school.
Hmm.
All of the art pieces that I did for science, um, the crafts for science, a little extra projects that you do over the summer. Uh, there was a program called the Young Scientist that the Science Center used to run, and it had everything from young meteorologist, young entomologist, young ornithologist, and you just run around the whole country finding all these little artifacts or making drawings, making diagrams or models and getting the certain number of points to get a badge.
Mm.
Super fun.
Mm.
Uh, well, that was maybe let's go back to the timeline. So
Okay, so that's high school,
college.
or that's school, and then we're
That's
coming into
school.
college. What did you do at college?
College. I did
Were you
political
already,
science.
okay. So you haven't been like, I'm going to get into education.
I was thinking about it. I think when I was in high school here, I would go to tutoring classes through the end of middle school into high school and would also spend some of that time tutoring some of the younger kids myself.
Mm.
Like I would get classes in math and science, and I would then help out some of the younger kids and was good at it. Um, and when I was wrapping up my A levels, which is 11th and 12th, um, I was looking at education degree programs,
Mm.
but advice from my parents was it's too narrow, do something a little bit more broad, do
Mhm.
education later. So world politics, international relations,
Mm.
Ministry of Foreign Affairs was a possibility,
Mm.
and that sort of became the lens with which college was approached.
Mhm.
But that being said, I had like my college has the most, I think still has one of the most, if not the most open curriculum where only the classes that go to your major and whatever prereqs are required. And outside of that, it could take anything from any department.
Cool.
So you could have multiple minors. You could end up double majoring. I just took a bunch of languages and also did my major. And it was really fun. I, however, never had a late morning because all of the language classes are in the morning. All spoken language has to be at 8 a.m. for some reason.
That's the rule.
And we were going straight to Mandarin, straight to Italian. I'm like, just one day, this is it. It's so nice. We got a radio show, a friend and I at one point, 8 a.m. radio show into my language class.
I like that both of our reaction, both of our body language to 8 a.m. language classes, like hands on head.
I'm not even waking up at 8 a.m. now.
I also, so I did international business, and as part of that, I had to do a language, and I got through college fine in like the business parts of it without going to class, more or less. Like I go to some of the classes and I read the textbooks, and you know, I wasn't not learning the stuff, but I wasn't necessarily going to all of the classes. And the language classes, I had the same tactic, and I was like, I'm just going to read the book and wing it. And I failed Spanish at university. It's the only class that I've ever failed. It's hard. Like languages are a different type of thing. You have to turn up
You
and
have
just
to practice them.
Yeah.
You have to get through the embarrassment of speaking so badly out loud.
Yeah.
Like wincing through the accent, the vocab, the terrible grammar.
It's such a good practice though in not getting it right and trying anyway.
Yes. It's like music.
Tell me more.
It's like an instrument, right? Language, anything that requires you to build fluency and dexterity requires practice through failure.
Yeah. Which is really hard for a lot of people. And do you think it's harder for some neurodivergent brains, or is that like a not helpful lens?
You mean languages?
Yeah.
Difficult to say.
Yeah.
There are some thoughts where for kids with dyslexia, there are some schools of thought that say it is helpful for a child who grows up in a bilingual setting to have bilingual immersion continue, even with dyslexia, because that affects reading print. So if you take print out of the picture, then they're still hearing two languages, and that actually continues to help build strong neural pathways. And since many language-based learning disabilities are because of pathways shifting in the brain, building more cognitive pathways is always supportive. There are always ways to help a person get to the end product. It just might not be the way that you do it.
Yeah.
They'll have to find their own pathway, and that's what neural pathways and links are for. So like that's one school of thought. The other is why burden a child with yet another task, yet another mountain of learning to surmount.
Yeah. Because there's that trap of like, I'll learn this thing once I've learned this other thing, right? And then you never get to like, I'll learn B after I learn A, but if you never get through A, then you're never going to get to B. And
Right.
you could just skip doing A and go straight to, yeah.
Right. Or you get a little bit of A and B. Maybe you don't fully master either, but maybe you could also use each other to support.
Mm.
You can use them to support each other. I don't know. I think it has to be very individualized and tailored when it comes to these things. I mean, I'm good at languages. I can hear the individual phonemes in languages very easily, even in languages that I don't know and I've never encountered, never studied. It's easier for me to pick out particles and transitions.
You can pass them.
Yeah. But mm, my brothers have less dexterity with languages. They're, one of them picked up an instrument. I never successfully picked up an instrument.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely due to the practicing thing.
Yeah.
But, that was never something that I put full effort into. I put full effort into learning languages. And then I have my other brother put full effort into picking up team sports. So he's got those skills. I mean, throw him into a game, he can play.
Yeah.
You know?
It's so interesting to me, the different types of intelligence that people have.
Right. And all of these do require practice to develop skill and dexterity, prediction, planning, organization. There's so much that goes into being fluent at something, but they seem so different. But when it comes down to the actual, like what the skills require of you, I think they can be labeled very similarly or looked at. The breakdown looks the same.
Interesting. This idea of like labeling things or having ways to talk about and articulate learning, for example, and then learning for a particular type of learner. Like basically nerding out about learning and how our brains work and how is like super interesting to me. But I'm sure that there are lots of people that just don't care about like how they learn or why something is important to develop in one way or another.
Yeah, I think it comes very easily. When it comes easily and you've never had to think about it, why think about it? It's only when learning posits a challenge of some kind or you fail for the first time. That's always the shock and the setback, right? That first failure of, well, I studied. Why didn't I get the score that I wanted? And it's not due to the bell curve. It's just you.
Tell me more about the bell curve.
Like grading on a curve. So if there are more scores above a certain range, they'll shift everything down.
I get it. Okay.
So it's not due to that. You studied a lot and you still didn't get the thing. And you could try and study the same way more, spend more hours, write more notes. And if that doesn't change anything, then the process of studying itself, the process of like information intake has to change.
Yeah. Do you have methods for that for yourself? Like, how do you think about it for either for you or for people that you work with?
I think for me, it also depends on what I'm trying to learn. I have memorized an entire passage in Mandarin that I wrote and had to recite orally. um, maybe 30 minutes before I went in, and I memorized it character by character. So I'd read a character, say it back, then read two characters, say those back out loud, then read three characters, say those back out loud. And I just went that way through the entire thing until I repeated every single character in the whole passage out loud correctly. Took me the 30 minutes
Yeah.
to do the whole thing, and then I went in and recited it perfectly.
Yeah.
And at that point, I could add in like tone and cadence and prosody, and I was telling a story,
Yeah.
but I needed to memorize it. And I found that that worked with Mandarin. I can't say that that would have worked with when I took Italian. It definitely didn't work with Japanese. That I had to memorize a different way. And memorizing for me doesn't work like that for formula, for example, like math. I'm not gonna like read through all the math formula, remember them, and then go and do, I don't know, derivatives and angles. That's that's not gonna work. I need actual application and practice of different kind.
You need to learn about the tool, as in the formula, and where to apply it, and then see where to use the tool. Be like, oh, I need a screwdriver for this.
Right. How to apply it, and then also how to modify it when it requires modification. Because just because this is the formula doesn't mean it applies exactly this way to every single problem. You might have to do something else first, or you might have to apply it, get an answer, and do something else after. So parsing through all of that, math is that kind of application practice over various scenarios.
Yeah.
Much like social interaction.
Yes. Which for a lot of people takes much less thought. And for some people it takes a lot of thought.
Yes. Sometimes I practice conversations in my head.
Me too.
Yeah. And sometimes they just come out real quick. Snappy.
When you practice conversations, is it you know that a conversation's coming up and so you practice it, or is it like you're in the same room and you know that you want to say something and you like go through few different ways of saying it?
Both of those, and then also what ifs. Like, what if I'm in this situation and someone says something like this to me? How am I going to respond? What if I'm in this situation and this person comes up to me and they say something positive? What am I going to say?
Yeah.
What do they say something negative? What am I going to say? What am I going to say if I'm feeling this way? What am I going to say if someone ever asks me about this topic? What do I need to look up? I pull out my phone and start looking.
I love this.
Late night Wikipedia.
How how many of these scenarios do you think play out, like as a proportion for you? Because
Too many.
Too many? Oh, you mean you do too many in your head versus the number that actually happened, or you're predicting what might happen? Okay.
Too many in my head versus the number. None. I don't know that very many of what I've imagined has actually come to pass.
Yeah. So I have this experience as well. And I've learned to realize that some of these things that happen in my head are just flags for, oh, maybe you're feeling a certain way. So like maybe I'm feeling nervous about something if I'm like going over the conversation, or maybe I'm feeling excited about something, right? But there's like something behind maybe this will happen, maybe this will happen. I find myself sometimes reciting like I find myself drafting like emails or text messages. Like, oh, I want to tell this person about this thing. This is what I would say. Da 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 da. And then I reach the point where I'm like, oh, why don't I just write that down? That
Yeah.
this is the thing. I don't need to like go over it now and then,
Yeah.
especially if
Just
it's
write that down.
yeah, yeah.
I
Right.
did that recently. Not necessarily a text message or email. And I get the gap between, I'm just here thinking about it over and over again. Why don't you just pull out a notebook or pull out my phone, pull out my computer and
Uh-huh.
just type it out and see how it looks.
Uh-huh.
Um, I'm working on a presentation and all of these things obviously happen just about as I'm trying to fall asleep.
Of course. Just
Classically,
like
of course.
just like the language class has to be in the morning. It's just the divine
Right.
timing of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying to fall asleep and my mind starts going over, okay, well, what if you did this as a hook? And
Mm,
what if you had these few questions?
right.
And what about me prepping so that this happens? And I was like, same thing. Why am I thinking about this right now? Let me just type it out. Let me just put it down
Mhm.
and we'll move on.
I used to do this so much, and the one skill that I've developed in the last, I don't know, hard to tell what the time horizon is. Maybe in the last year is going, no, Ty, not right now. We're not gonna go in there because, like, I know that if I open that door, I'm gonna be in the room and I'm gonna think about this and like converse with myself all the way through until like I've got something that I'm
Mm.
pleased with, and instead I like peek in the door and then I'm like, no, I'm gonna sleep instead.
Oh, that's good.
it
I
it took
am
time.
not, that's good. I, what I, this one I was proud of because I did just do a thought dump and I almost went back as I was typing to correct spelling. And I was like, no, we don't need to do that. We're thought
Mm,
dumping. We're just going to
mm,
write out everything that's coming out. And that's going to be it. It's going to be what
mm.
it looks like. And I will be able to derive from it what I want to tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah.
That
They're
was a good
different
count.
tasks.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So okay. So this is what I'm talking about. You were thought dumping. That was one door. And then you started to peek through the next door and you were like, oh, no, there's a lot of work in there. I'm going to set
Yeah.
myself up for success tomorrow and I'm going to shut this door.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Nice. That's
Um,
adulting.
it's adult. It's, it, there are so many like skills that you learn that are skills that are like,
Hmm.
I can cook a bolognese, whatever. Then there are skills that you learn like this that
Hmm.
probably actually have a name if we nerded out about it.
There's
But
study
they're
skills, executive functioning.
exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, this is part of your domain, which is perfect because this is what I want to dive into. Um,
Hmm.
like you went through college, you came into, the workplace in the last little while? Like, what are you working on? What are you wanting to do now? I think that this
Well,
is,
I was at a school for 7 years and I went from associate to head to case management role, case
uh,
coordination. Uh,
head
that
of
was
what?
mm,
You said head. I want to
head
double click on
teacher,
that for a second. Okay. Like for a
head
department.
teacher. No, for a classroom. So I was the lead teacher running the classroom and I had an associate that I was both mentoring and guiding and training.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Um, And also then as a grade level team, we'd all sit together, 3 teams, and develop curriculum for the year. Then internally in my own classroom, I was leading curriculum development in smaller units, smaller projects, more classroom specific learning, behavior plans.
Mm.
And then the shift into case coordination was kind of middle management. I was
Okay.
still mentoring. I was still developing curriculum, but on the more of a outside lens of we'd have a book club. I'd make the resource packets for that, or if there was something that I wanted to develop, I'd develop it and see if a classroom wanted to use it or one of my teacher friends liked it enough to use it. Um, that was fun.
Yeah.
And then a lot of just alignment between different people all involved
Mm.
in the student's life.
Mm.
And after that, well, that just wrapped up. And now I'm in Singapore. So now it's what am I doing next? And I'm still trying to figure out what that is because I have a lot of expertise in education, especially with special needs, neurodiversity, language-based learning disabilities. Uh, what that's really going to look like on the day to day is something that I'm trying to conceive of.
Mm.
Uh, developing curriculum is
Mm.
really cool. It's definitely a very large task for one person to do. Um, but that is something I'm looking to take on.
Mm.
It's, I don't know. I don't know if I want the structure of a 9 to 5 or a 7 to 4 that
Mm.
schools usually do. 9 to 5 would be corporate, if that's like the learning and development space, which could be
Yeah.
interesting. The job that I had in between undergrad and grad was in HR.
Mm.
It was in talent acquisition. So
Mm.
HR has been consistently something that I was intrigued by because I think it all comes back down to person interaction.
Mm.
I loved the mentorship capacity
Mm.
of my job, the fact that I was able to directly work with a person, an incoming educator every year, and guide them through, um, assimilating into the school culture, learning how to develop strong lessons, learning how to manage a classroom of students, time management,
Mm.
all of those pieces. And then also coming up with workshops and seminars based off of what I'd created
Mm.
and be able
Cool.
to show educators or show my admin why I created my thing and how it's applicable, or show parents why our
Mm.
curriculum works.
Mm.
Uh, I don't, I frequently say I don't like being on stage, but when the stage is my choice, like when it's your choice and when it's your performance that you've put together and you know exactly what's happening, then it's much easier to be on stage.
Yeah, it sounds like from your childhood when you were trying to learn something or being told to learn something that you didn't want to, that you didn't have an interest in, that you didn't care about. You're like, yeah. But when it's something that you're choosing, even if it's a hard topic, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, I know this. There's also, it comes through that there's a certain amount of integrity in getting on stage, as in if you would get on stage to talk about something that you didn't know a lot about, you might
Mm-hmm.
have imposter syndrome or
Yeah.
feel like it wasn't your place to talk about that. But when it's your thing that you've developed and you believe in, getting on stage is actually like in service of everybody because it's something that you've worked hard at, right?
Right. And you are the expert in that because
Yeah.
you've made yourself the expert. And this is essentially sharing what knowledge you've derived from
Mm,
your learning and your experience. And, before we hopped onto this call, I did have a moment where I thought to myself, what do I even have to talk about that could be worthy or valuable?
mm,
And then I had to correct that pathway of thinking because there's a lot. There's a lot that I've done. There's a lot I have expertise in. There's a lot I have experienced. There's a lot, there's a lot to talk about. It just has to be what I know.
yes. But let's do it like this. You pretend that I'm someone that knows what you're going to have to take a leap of faith and pretend that I would be one of the people that you're presenting to, that I have the background. And if I don't understand something, I'll just ask. Um, but I want to know, like, what kind of thing you would like to present or get on stage, or like, what do you feel like? Um, what do you feel like is missing in Singapore that was like talked about a lot when you were in the US? Is that a good frame to
That's a
like?
great frame. I haven't been in schools here
Mm,
to recently enough to know what's really missing other than the conversations that I've been having with people recently.
mm,
So, two things. There is a conference that's coming up that I would love to attend. It's like an education conference, and that's going to be a great way for me to find out what people are talking about and what people are
cool.
thinking about, presenting about. It's EdTech Asia, something like that.
Oh,
Uh,
cool. It's going to be
that's
big.
coming up in November. So that's one piece. The other piece, based off of the conversations that I've had with folks, it seems like interactions are very siloed. Supports are siloed.
Mm,
So what's happening in schools isn't necessarily communicated with clarity to families.
mm,
Uh, And I'm specifically talking about uh, alternative education. So not mainstream gen ed public school
mhm,
or even just mainstream learning.
mhm,
So if it's a school with other streams of learning, or if it's a school doing any learning specialist support, the the difference, the gap that's being bridged isn't necessarily being communicated with clarity, what is being supported and how.
mhm, mhm,
And families that are moving kids from public or mainstream settings into a more supportive or specialized setting are doing it because they think that that's going to be the solve,
mm,
but they're not necessarily aware of what could actually solve
mm,
the issues that a child might be having with learning,
mm,
whether that's from a fear of diagnosis or labeling,
mhm,
which is very valid. However, if people are able to view diagnoses as a tool
mm.
as opposed to a be all end all box or label, I think that would be so much more supportive. I I personally believe that any of these boxes and labels and diagnoses should be tools for understanding.
Mm,
It's scientifically studied patterns that can be grouped through observed commonalities,
mm,
common ways of behavior, common ways of functioning. And fair enough, a lot of research occurs in controlled populations, but even still, like people look at astrology, those are also common ways of behavior, common ways of functioning and patterns. It's study of patterns, right?
yeah.
So any behavioral diagnoses that doesn't come from like genetic markers, I think can be used as a tool to better understand a person's needs, patterns of behavior, ways in which they approach the world, ways in which they take in information. I mean, for example, kids that are, or like people that are on the spectrum or
Yeah.
associated with being on the spectrum are often associated with very rigid behavior or rigid
Mm,
viewpoints. What that could look like is they take things very literally,
mhm.
or if you say, like if you say something, if you say one thing, that's the only thing that they'll believe and they won't be able to conceive of anything else being
And
associated or
unlearn and relearn something easily.
right.
Yeah.
It's also something that's learned in this space doesn't necessarily translate to another space.
Mm,
Um, but they also have very strong sense of justice and fairness.
mm,
So that's that flip side of it.
yeah.
And if I know that about someone and understand that, then the way in which I approach that person when I'm sharing information, I
Mm,
might give a lot more caveats to what I say.
yeah. Yeah.
And I
The way
wouldn't do
that
that with
you,
a pet.
no. And in some ways, it makes it very easy. Like, I guess you could say this about any brain. And it's such a shortcut if you know that somebody, like sometimes labels are a real shortcut in
Yeah.
the best sense of the word. It's like, oh, I know that you're going to receive this information. I know you're going to learn this thing in the best way, in the most effective way, if I convey it like this.
Yes, if the person that's receiving that information knows the aspects that go into the labels and is able
Mm,
to use it as a tool for communication and understanding and take it that way rather than oh, you're just, glomping yourself with
mm,
everyone to fit into a
mm,
certain group.
mm,
So I think it can be overused, right? It's very different to say I'm on the spectrum versus there are some ways in which I behave that are ways in which I behave that are just quirks of me. So
yeah.
where's the line for that? Where's the boundary? How much of it affects your life and how
Mm,
you interact with people? And then there's folks that have high academic need, low social need, high social need, low academic need.
mm. Do you want to work more with people in the academic realm and the social realm? Do they overlap? Like, what's,
They do.
where are
Uh,
you excited to work?
I am not, I'm feeling very reticent to going back into the classroom right now,
Mm,
even though I know that it would be easier for me to get that job.
why?
Uh, it was the last couple of years running my classroom was very, very challenging. not enough resources, very
Mm.
few very challenging kids that I was ill-equipped. Tried my best, did the
Yeah.
most, but still feeling ill-equipped to support in the way that they needed
Mm.
is a hard place to be. It's like you're between a rock and a hard place with that one because I don't know that anything that I did really got through to them, even though that's just my feeling and not what the children felt.
Mm. Yeah. Um, it's interesting you say that. I was talking to my mum yesterday. She's a teacher. Um, she hasn't been a teacher for that long, actually. Maybe 3 years or 4 years, something like that.
Mhm.
So part of this is that we were talking about that, like, she doesn't have that much experience being a teacher, but she wants to do everything perfectly.
Yeah.
And when we were talking about this, I was like, you know that there are thousands of teachers and nobody does it perfectly. And she's like, yeah, but I care about the kids. I'm like, yeah, but like, you're not, no matter how good you are as a teacher, you're not gonna like, or even when we have one-on-one conversations, what I portray and what you receive are not 100% the same thing.
Hmm.
Like my meaning and your reception in a small conversation is not necessarily landing completely. And then, so if you scale that out to 30 kids or whatever it is,
With
and they
30
all,
kids with an entirely different vocab range.
yeah, ooh,
You don't even know if your vocabulary is getting into their heads and they're understanding the full scale meaning of that, let alone the
uh-huh.
concepts that you're trying to teach.
How often do you learn things from students? Like you're standing in, how long does it take you to like go into a classroom and then like pick up some of their vocabulary? Like, is there a they learn you, you learn them dynamic that goes on?
Definitely. I mean, just in terms of like their quirks and their behaviors, the ideal setup is that you're relationship building during the first few weeks. And
Mm,
that's the time to really start spotting who sits well with whom and who works well with whom and
mm.
what are their interests. But it takes, some kids it takes longer. It took until the end of the school year for one of my students to really come out of his shell.
Wow.
But then we got him twerking on camera. So
You
I
got
feel
them
like that,
twerking on camera.
yeah, this kid said
Sounds like,
maybe 2 words a day.
wow.
Yeah. It- the like child vocabulary mostly escaped me, but then I also never really picked up the local lingo here.
Mm.
Like I'm not
He-
good at
Here,
Singlish
here being,
in Singapore.
okay. Yeah.
I don't have a lot of local slang. I don't have a lot of Singlish. I've got a couple of
Uh-huh,
words here and there. So
uh-huh,
generational language, it's one of those things that's like maybe the most prominent piece will stick out to me,
uh-huh.
but otherwise it's going right over. They're saying some things and I'm like, okay, it's fine. It's chat.
It's stuff
But
that,
what I'm really good at is noticing who's getting along with whom
Hmm,
and spotting like little, corners of whisperings and being able to rearrange the classroom so that their social dynamics are either playing out a little better or slightly disrupted for a while. So they have to reset themselves and
hmm.
a little chess psychology of children.
It reminds me of herding cats.
herding cats, mushing dogs. You have to have your
Uh,
leaders, and you have to have the ones in the middle, and the
yeah,
ones in the back.
interesting. Okay. Do you think they know?
Uh, they start to pick up on it. Not usually the ones that I work with. 11, 12 years old.
Okay.
When it becomes less me, and
Mm,
more, what's going on with you?
mm,
So that their internal world starts to expand a little bit more
mm,
externally. And that's when they start noticing social dynamics. That's also when hormones, crushes, everything starts shifting. Um, can scale a little bit younger, but usually what I see is 9 up to 10. They're still so focused on their self-identity and internal
mm,
world
mm,
that they're not really paying attention to what's happening around them other than their inside to outside explosion.
mm,
Um, and then you hit 11, 12, 13, and it starts to get a little bit more like, oh, I did this thing and I did notice that it affected that person
mm,
in some way. So
mm,
now I can actually sit with that and you can talk to me about it.
mm,
Like we do mind maps. We call them blueprints, but we do blueprints of impact versus intent. You did a thing. This is what happened. Let's map our way to how that occurred through feelings, through actions, and outcomes.
mm,
And it's a useful tool, really challenging to actually land and be internalized for kids that are still very internally focused.
mm. So it's a timing thing for some kids.
For some.
Mm,
Either way, these are all tools that the earlier you start them, the earlier they become your routine and a tool to use and a tool with which to break down issues and interactions,
mm,
then the idea is that it's internalized enough that that reflective practice is more consistently happening at a younger age and that builds fluency for later years.
mm.
And
Interesting.
your
So you've already
outstanding
got,
goals.
yeah. So you've already got a foundation for all of this
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Yeah.
If you if you were designing a curriculum from scratch, would would you start with these types of skills like as soon as you can, or is there no point at some stage? Like, what's the ideal?
Well, what maybe not designing curriculum. If I was like running a classroom,
Yeah.
uh, I think the goal would be within the first, couple of months of school, you're building classroom connection and classroom relationships, maybe interclassroom relationships.
Mm,
And within the first few weeks, first 6 weeks, let's say 3 to 6 weeks, the things that you want to have routinized for the rest of the year should be introduced.
mm,
And introduced in the way that's like within the first week, it is when we come into the classroom, this is how we're going to come into the classroom. This is what we're
mm,
going to do before. This is how we enter. This is what we do in the space. Let's build a relationship with the space, with each other.
mm,
But then after that, you start going through the school day, going through
mm,
the activities, and every lesson, every transition, every activity, every time comes with its own expectations, routines. So the first 2 to 3 times that everything happens should come with, here's the expectation, let's reinforce. And if something doesn't go the way you expect it to, having the reflective practice, the callback, the like, let's go back to what we agreed upon with the expectations.
Mm.
I have, like, as a teacher, I have my expectations. As a student, you have your roles and responsibilities. You also have your expectations of how I'm going to support you. This is what we agreed upon. This is like the class charter. So when we're in this space, this is what's expected.
Mm.
We went
What is
out
that
of expectations.
Yeah, what does that accountability look like? Is it one-to-one or is it
I
or
think that has to depend on the situation, right? Some things are whole class because the expectation is that we're looking out for each other.
Mm.
Some things are individualized because it's it becomes about this one child needing some different kind of support with their learning.
Mm.
You know, if a kid is being disruptive, it could be, there's so many factors that go into that. They didn't have breakfast. They're hungry. They didn't sleep well. They're tired.
Mm.
They don't understand the words that you're saying. They need review of vocabulary. They can't see the board very well. They might need something in front of them.
Mm.
They've got too much energy. They might need to go outside and like run around a little bit.
Mm.
There's more, but that's something that's very individual, as opposed to the whole class agreed that during this time period, this is learning time, we're going to have voices off, listening ears, we're going to raise a hand before we say something, we're going to, monitor any side talks, and if someone's doing something that's not following expectation, your job is to remind them these are our expectations. So then in a period like that, if something doesn't go so well and it's because of classroom disruptions, then that's the kind of time where it's like, well, we agreed. I even reviewed the expectations. We, maybe got a little bit silly, which means that this 5 minutes that was wasted of our learning time, or this 5 minutes that was disrupted, however you want to say it, we're going to have to make it up.
Mm.
Whether that's 5 minutes later, or we extend, or that's 5 minutes extra, we have to do our next period.
Mm.
Let's collectively agree that this is the consequence. So that's like a collective consequence.
Mm.
But it has to be logical, it has to be reasonable. The kids have to agree on it and see the reasoning.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it doesn't, like, punishment doesn't work. Everyone knows that now.
Yeah, I was about to ask. So how do you navigate that, like punishment versus reward, or is there a different frame for it
Well,
that's more
so
useful?
there are rewards, then there are natural consequences, and then there's
Mm-hmm.
punishment. A reward is a plus. A natural consequence is a logical outcome. Whether that's positive or negative is by association. And then a punishment is a minus. So
Right.
you can have rewards that are just like, hey, today was a great day. Let's have a treat. Let's watch a video. It could be, we're in a good mood. Let's watch a video.
Mm.
Rewards could also be like, we finished all of our tasks. Let's do something fun. Let's play a game instead of doing this last thing.
Yeah.
Because you've all worked really hard. And then there's rewards that are like, if you do XYZ, or if you do X amount of things, you will earn this reward.
Mm.
So many ways of doing rewards. natural consequences, logical consequences are positive or negative by association that usually the teacher has to do or has to support the student in like understanding or noticing. So it could even be like, oh, you had a great social interaction with this person that you thought didn't like you. Do you see how you saying hi and continuing the conversation with a little bit of information from home helped that person get to know you a little bit better and then made that person feel safe enough to talk to you? And they'll be like, yeah, that's great. So pointing those things out or pointing out the natural like consequence of disrupting a class means we have to make up 5 minutes. And then in my experience, punishment is the last resort. It's like if you can't make your way through one class without saying something rude, like if you say one rude thing in one class at all, or if you get this many X's, we will take away this privilege at home or this privilege at school. You will be required to write a letter. You will have to do XYZ.
Mate,
Anything that requires home privileges, requires that school to home, connection.
Yeah.
Punishments at school, I mean, what really can you do? Like, they need their outdoor time, so you can't keep them in anymore.
I used to get detention all the time. And honestly, I was down with it because then I got to hang out with all the other naughty kids. Just be naughty. It was great. One that I think that I've changed my tune on. When I was a kid, I thought this was ridiculous. Is writing down something over and over and over, like writing something down.
Whosoever, whichever father, like clerical father, conceived of that, because it must have been. That's some Catholic shit.
Hold on. It is, but I actually have a
no offense.
Say again?
No offense.
I missed it. Oh, no offense. Yeah. Thank you. And right next door, I have one of the biggest churches I've ever seen.
Oops.
No, okay. But I've changed my tune on this because at school, I thought that it was ridiculous. I would get in trouble with something and I would have to write 20 times, I will not, da 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 da. And then I got pretty good at it, actually. I'm going to tangent for a second by taping a bunch of pens together and writing it like, so I could do 5 lines at a time or something like that. Yeah. So you learn things sometimes when you're naughty. Anyway, I recently read about how you can just train your brain to do things. So I've been doing this every now and then. I'll pick a thing and be like, I love public speaking, and write it out 100 times. And it's like the subliminal, doesn't have backing as far as I understand, but I like the idea of that you can subtly train yourself just by spending 10 minutes doing something and then waiting a month and seeing if it actually changes how you feel about something.
Well, that's your experimentation.
It is, yeah.
That's Thai science. Who knows? If it's working for you, it's working for you.
Are there any punishments in the classroom that you think actually work?
I don't know. I don't think so. I know that anything done in the presence of others won't work, right? Public humiliation won't work.
Okay.
But what I've also noticed is this isn't a punishment. Let's step away from that a little. A lot of my work is differentiation. Some kids need
Mm.
something different from another kid because their capacity to access learning is different.
Yeah.
But for some kids, giving them something that looks visibly different from another child
Mm.
can cause issues.
Oh, okay.
Even if they know that they need something different, even if you've done the social, emotional rigmarole of setting it up so that there's a idea that you need something different from someone else. Equity is a concept that they've been introduced to and that they've learned and been taught about, and it's been spoken about consistently. Even still, especially in places of low self-esteem or
Mm.
like challenging academic times, giving a student something that looks different from another student, especially when it's like something that seems
Mm.
less work, bigger words, smaller problems,
Mm.
is an issue.
Mm.
Like that can
Mm.
go very badly. So
Mm.
be careful.
Mm.
Um, I mean, I haven't done individual class. I don't do individual classroom, individual punishments. I haven't done individual punishments. I've only done classroom, like the whole class. We were going to have a very fun choice period,
Mm.
but we didn't learn anything because we were too rowdy
Mm.
after gym and couldn't get ourselves re-regulated.
Mm.
So we scrapped that period, and now we're going to do the whole lesson this period. More of a logical consequence, probably felt like a punishment,
Mm.
but that's the kind of thing that happens. It's like, I'm going to take away the fun thing that we planned
Mm.
because it it was something that we built in for you to enjoy with the understanding that you're going to go through the rest of your day having accomplished all of the other things.
Yeah. And it's kind of a meta accountability lesson.
Mm-hmm.
It's we
Yeah.
need to get this done. And because we didn't get it done in the last period, for whatever reason, we need to do it now.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah. I
There are so
mean,
many.
those are, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. No, here you go.
Well, those are the kinds of things that it, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. It
Mm.
really depends on what you have to know the group and how they can handle taking something
Mm.
like that as a group. Like, who are
Mm.
the leaders in the classroom
Mm.
that can positively engage with something like that, that can, tell the other kids to quieten down and do the thing? Are they
Mm.
in that day? Are they out?
Mm.
How are the more rambunctious ones feeling? Have they actually quietened down? Do you think they're going to be capable? Are we going to need to split the class up? There's so many decisions that have to be made prior to a change
Mm.
being instituted.
There's so much nuance to this that if you don't
Mhm.
get into the weeds of it, you just have no idea.
Yeah.
Um, okay. Uh, Full transparency, I don't know how to drive the ship from here or if there's depth that you want to go into. Is there is there anything that is alive coming to mind?
Mm, did
Otherwise,
you
I had a
want
question,
to?
but it will take us on a bit of a tangent that is not education related.
Well, did you want to talk more about like the executive functioning pieces?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Was that the next question?
The No, the other question is a question left from the last person that I spoke to, which
Ooh.
is a fun game because they don't know who you are and you don't know who they are. And I know that you both have interesting minds. And so this is like a fun game for me, but it would take us on a tangent that we might not get back to executive functioning. So,
Why don't we do the game and then we'll come back to executive functioning? I'll remember that we have to talk about that.
okay. Well, now that I know what the map is like, I can also remember. So, this question is from someone who I'm going to keep them anonymous, actually. Unless you're dying to know. I can tell. Anyway.
You can tell me later.
I can tell you later. Okay. Question is, before you were 10 years old, can you describe a memory of being in nature? And
Yes.
can you do it? Can you paint the picture for me? Can you do it in detail and tell me why it's stuck with you?
Yes. So, field of grass, just long grass blades, and it's rained heavily the night before, so there's mud, gravel road, puddles in places, huge, tall tropical trees, with long pods and little red seeds scattered everywhere, and then green field, and there's another huge, wide branched tree with long roots that you can swing on.
Oh, cool.
I'm in a uniform, a little skirt and shirt, pinafore. There's a bunch of other girls with me, and knees in the mud by a little puddle, splashing through the puddle, trying to grab tadpoles. Trying to collect tadpoles.
What time of day is this? Is this like after school?
Midday during recess.
Midday. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So I remember big roots that came out of the ground. The trees seemed huge, and it was a really old building, old colonial building. And this was right in front of the school. There was a field to the side of it that ran down the length of the school, and then a huge field on the other side of it where the big banyan tree with the hanging roots was. And it rains a lot in Singapore, so there's always the smell of petrichor. And the land around the school was old enough that I don't remember the roads immediately surrounding the school ever being well graveled. So they were always a little cracked and muddy and dirty.
Holes and yeah.
Right. And even the field was very green, but the patch that was right in front of the school had green patches and mud patches and sand patches. So, piebald.
Piebald. Did you catch any tadpoles?
Caught a lot of tadpoles. Caught a lot of those little brown butterflies, like little garden butterflies.
Okay.
They're tiny.
I don't know
They're not
them, but...
but they're
Oh,
just...
and they like... Are they aphids?
No, they are butterflies. They're just,
Okay.
we have them here. They're small. They're brown. They're nothing like so exciting to see, but they were very easy to catch in just plastic bags. You run around, just grab a couple. That was one.
That's
I
such a
had another.
beautiful memory.
Yeah, I have another one that's great, but that's a good one.
Mm. Do you remember the feeling that you had?
Yeah. Curiosity.
Mm.
The general, well, everything that goes into it, right? A sense of wonder, a sense of curiosity, a little bit of ick.
Yeah. Yeah. I got these tadpoles and I want them, but yeah. uh, um, has your brain always worked the way that it does? Like, have you always noticed that it creates patterns between things, that it like focuses really specifically on some things?
I have gotten more skilled at noticing,
Mm,
and even then, sometimes I don't notice just how my brain does the thing that it does.
mm,
Uh, but I would say yes, when it's fully activated, when I'm feeling fully activated and the gears are all running, yeah, my
mm.
brain has a very unique way of processing information and deriving connections out of what it takes in.
Mm. Are there, so I think that we often think in a similar way, and there are certain things for me that I see as superpowers. Are
Mhm.
there ways that your mind works that you're like impressed by, or that you were like, oh, this is my superpower?
Yeah, I think one of those would be my ability to get to know someone really quickly
Mm,
and make them feel very comfortable with me.
mm. How do you find letting someone get to know you?
That I am a lot more restrictive with.
Yeah, interesting.
It's,
Different skills.
yeah, it's very easy for me to notice aspects about people and without knowing facts, see patterns in their behavior or get a general sense of why someone is the way that they are,
Mm,
or, pick up a sense of, okay, this person is interacting with me genuinely or not, and encourage senses like, and create a space where people feel encouraged to be comfortable, feel
mm,
safe, be willing to share, and not with a desire to manipulate, but rather like you're approaching me or I'm approaching you and I want you to feel comfortable.
mm.
So I'm going to make myself warm and like I'm going to be warm and inviting.
Yeah, you're gonna be
And that's
safe.
right. I'm going to be safe. And I'm generally safe. I'm not always warm and inviting,
Yeah, I know
but
you can be
that
prickly.
also that also doesn't mean that you're going to find out everything about me.
Yeah,
and get the full picture of who I am. You're going to get the sense that I am warm and kind and inviting and approachable, but that doesn't come with information.
Mm. Interesting. Yeah, I can relate. I find it easier to not accidentally, but without much effort, get to understand people from their words and actions and behaviors and patterns very quickly. And then it takes effort to, uh, allow myself to be witnessed in that way. And there are some people that can see through
Mm-hmm.
my, you know, walls and whatever is there very quickly, very easily. But I think it's a two-way street. I think it also requires like, this is who I am. And noticing sometimes if you're like pretending to be someone that you're not, or like putting on
Mm-hmm.
some kind of performance. Yeah. Yeah. Um,
Well, I think I've gotten to a point where I am the person that you see, and it's very unlikely that I'm in a performative space. If I am, I'm in a costume,
mm,
at least up till now. When I'm performing, I am visibly different than my usual form. And that's the indication that you are engaging with a character and a performance and a personality piece, not me. I mean, aspects of me that are characterized and radicalized and turned into a whole thing, but not me.
mm,
So when it's just Divya, it's Divya.
mm,
And I think that allows me to cut through and or at least see at the heart of performative behavior, because I can tell that you're putting on a front, and what for? I'm not.
yeah. Yeah. Meeting people, when two people are meeting in the same place.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. When I think of superpowers, this is exactly what I mean, is that you can see through all of these. You have X-ray vision. You have
Yeah.
personality X-ray vision.
Like I can see when you're acting something, and I'm gonna tell you.
Mm.
Maybe the I'm gonna tell you shouldn't happen so much because it usually gets me into trouble of some kind.
Um, so I have a hankering for a coffee, and it's going to take me 30 seconds. My coffee machine's right
Okay,
there.
go ahead.
So I'm going to make a coffee, and I'll be right back. And then I have a little story for you too.
Okay, perfect. You're gonna need to get the provenance of this painting.
Yeah, I will ask my friends. For a second, I thought it was a print of all of the. I thought it was all the same person because, like, this person and this person and this person, and like all four of these guys actually have exactly the same beard, and like their robes are different. These four, but like they have the
Mm-hmm.
same beards and they're wearing the same hats. So at a glance, I was like, oh, it's the same people. And then I looked around and like these are some gorgeous older women. They're like definitely a bunch of specific characters.
Mm-hmm.
There's 14 of them.
It's so interesting. I wonder.
Happy tie. So I met someone the other day.
Hmm.
His name is Seth, and um, I've been prefacing. I ask a lot of weird questions, and I've been prefacing my weird questions with, like, I've been basically asking for consent before I ask people weird questions if I've just met them. We've known each other for like 20 seconds. Actually, this reminds me of when we met. Anyway, we'll come back to that. And I go, Seth, are you open to? And then we, like, people were shuffling around and we kind of moved and got disrupted and we came back and he was like, you going to ask me if I'm open to some feedback? And I was going to ask him if he was open to a sort of odd question. And instead I was like, well, no, but I can give you some feedback if you like. And I think it's such a funny premise to meet someone and then immediately offer them feedback.
Are you open to some feedback? Just right now, of everything that I'm seeing.
Yeah. Right now, I don't know you except for I've had spoken one sentence to you and I can see what you're wearing. Open to feedback? And so I gave him feedback. But I couldn't bring myself to say anything negative because it wasn't true. The only thing that I couldn't bring myself to give him critical feedback because the only thing that I had witnessed is him complimenting someone whose birthday it was, which was really nice. And the way that he did it was really nice. So that was my feedback. But I bring that up because it seemed like a div thing to potentially do because it's hilarious. And I just want to plant this seed for you.
I mean, first of all, quick quips, which you're great at, and we're collectively great at. I would love to give someone just immediate feedback. But I'm only saying that because that same leadership, uh, workshop that I took had us going around in a circle, giving each other face-to-face feedback without knowing the other person that you're interacting with. Like, there were folks there that I'd interacted with not at all once, and we had to give feedback.
Wow.
And it was
feedback on a specific thing?
No. Just like give feedback. And it was kind of like what you did, say something about the way they interacted with someone or how they put themselves together and what that could represent.
Would you give me some feedback?
Right now?
Yeah.
Sure. Are you open to some feedback?
Yeah.
I think it's very insightful how you structure some of your questions based off of your interpretations of the world and your understanding of my interpretations of the world and where the line is between them.
Thanks. Do you think that I ask questions that are too leading? Because I don't know a lot about education. So sometimes I ask things that are false dichotomies,
No, I don't think so, because I'm clarifying if any clarification is necessary, or if you're noticing a parallel or a pattern, then maybe that's something for me to consider.
Mm. Yeah, I like that you reframe when I'm veering. You're like, no, but this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Really talk about cognitive.
Plasticity.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Well, what do you maybe what do you notice about yourself?
Mm,
Where do you notice things that go well for you and then
mm.
where things break down?
I have something I call time management, which is
Mm-hmm.
a quip on time management. But it's essentially that there are certain things that I really do well and there are certain things that I struggle with. If you ask me for an example of something, I find it really hard to pull examples out of thin air.
Yeah.
But if we're already on the bus, if we're already on the path, then I can relatively easily engage and I can pull from a vast bank of experience and also
Mm-hmm.
find parallels in different domains that I can bring into a conversation so that's something that comes easy to me. But going from cold start is really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my ability to keep track of time, I can do it, but I can't multi-track. I can't multitask in that. So if I'm focused on keeping time, I can kind of do that, but I can't do that and also dive deeply into a topic. So I have to outsource that, like say set an alarm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, those are like the two kind of main domains that I find myself in or those are the two like biggest struggles I have, I guess, when it comes to my um, executive functioning is like just
Well,
blindness when it comes to time.
give me more about the cold starts.
Mm.
What do you mean by that?
Sometimes I will forget a name
Mm-hmm.
and it's not just people that I've just met, it's like people that I've known for decades, you know?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
know that there's a, yeah,
I
I
know
know that there's a
exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, but I know that there's not something. It's a weird word to use for it, but like wrong with my brain
Mm-hmm.
because I can teach you about a physics concept that I learned 15 years ago, and I
Right.
understand it well, and so it's this weird, different kind of domain in which, unless there is a thread, I find it hard
Mm-hmm.
to find the start of the thread. I think is
Yeah.
what it is. Um,
I think that is one way our brains work similarly.
mm,
I will also not be able to, at a moment's notice, recall certain pieces of vocabulary or names just right off the bat.
mm,
But if we're on a thread of a conversation, then yes, I'm pulling different pieces of information, different feelings, different impressions from multiple arenas, tying it all together. Because you're seeing the pattern,
mm,
you're seeing the overall sense that ties everything together. And examples can be difficult because they were snapshots
mm,
that you may or may not have fully internalized, but what you did internalize was your sensation and your impression of that snapshot, as opposed to what exactly was said or what exactly was done. You were focused on
exactly.
your feeling, your body, your impression, your understanding, and that's what you
Mm,
took away from it.
mm. Yeah, you have that too.
Hmm.
Do you think that's a common experience for? Um, would it be helpful to label the
I I feel like that's an ADHD, ADD
Yeah,
thing
exactly.
because
That's what I mean.
you're so like you're either in your brain or you're in your body.
Hmm.
And there are moments where you're so in your body because of all of the feelings that that is what your brain is remembering as opposed to what the person said or did exactly, right? Like I'm not going to be able to give you the exact quote of what you said to me in that
Mm,
moment, but I'm going to be able to tell you that this is how it made me feel. And that
mm,
is the same way I felt at this other instance, good or bad,
mm,
like positive or negative. That's, and then at other times, maybe you're latching on to that exact phrase and then you hear that same phrase said somewhere else because that phrase hit something in you. It was intriguing. It was whatever.
yeah.
So you'll remember that phrase and you'll hear it places and see it places, but you're not necessarily going to remember, oh, I don't remember where I saw it, but I remember hearing that phrase.
Mm, mhm. Yeah, I have riffs and channel, like however we want to talk about them, riffs, rivers, themes that tend to like there are major themes that run throughout my brain and throughout my life.
Hmm.
And then there are like weekly and monthly and quarterly themes that kind of like weave in and out. Um, that when they are useful, when they're interesting, they keep coming back and keep coming back, kind of until they're integrated. Um,
Hmm.
and those themes are like they will jump out at me faster and easier, and yeah, it's really interesting this brain to body connection, you know.
Yeah.
And it's also weird to me to separate the two because they're so not separate in so many ways, you know.
Right.
It's just how we conceptualize it.
Yeah. There, sometimes it's difficult to build a strong connection between brain and body.
Mm,
Movement really helps.
mm,
Like if I start my day with a workout, then I'm so much more in my body right after. And I stand up taller. I feel more contained
mm.
in some ways, as opposed to if the workout is later in the day, sometimes then the whole day is, I'm maybe a little bit more in my brain and not so much in my body. I don't know that I'm explaining this as well as I could be.
Mm. It's also like
It's,
10 p.m. where you are.
yeah, but it's like, it's not disassociative,
Mm,
you know? But there are definitely times when, and I know that there are other folks that have experienced this where I feel like a little creature living inside the back of my head, and
mhm,
this is just a mask, and I'm
mhm.
looking out through the inside of it, piloting like
Yeah,
a mecha bot,
yeah.
like a little thing, a little goblin in there. And this is the meat suit that it's living in.
Yeah.
So there's times when it feels like that, and then there's times when my vision is at the outermost. I am me. Like I'm the one.
How does that relate to the like the way that you interact with the world? Does it change anything, or is it just that your felt experience is different?
I think I'm a lot more critical of myself and a lot more anxious
When you're piloting?
when I'm piloting.
Mm,
When I'm driving my body, when I'm in it, I'm in it. I'm more
yeah.
like I'm feeling my body. I'm definitely more confident. I'm projecting a sense of confidence in a different way
Mm.
versus being the little creature in the back that's like, oh, I really hope I'm doing this right.
I wonder what this lever does.
Press the red thing or don't press the red thing. I'll try that button today.
Yeah. Oh man. Sometimes I have that experience and it's like it's like sometimes there's a new button on the panel. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
what does this one do?
What's that going to do today?
Like there's a random variable thing.
Okay.
Um, do you find that like I've been thinking a lot about inputs and outputs. Like you're just talking about exercise. Are there other inputs that you use, whether they're like actual inputs or just activities that
Yeah. Well, exercise for getting me connected to brain and body.
mm,
Music for getting me out of my brain. Body doesn't matter,
yeah.
but music is like I can get lost in the sauce and just be somewhere else.
Mm-hmm,
Dancing is that brain body, like you're lost in the sauce, but you're moving your body,
mm-hmm.
and that's so great. Um, Other positive inputs. A lot of well, I keep my nails short now, as of
Mm-hmm.
recently, but I usually have my nails some level of manicured, not
Clickety clack.
raggedy. Well, not raggedy because I used to be a massive nail biter
Mm.
and I don't do it now because I've realized that if I can keep them nice and neat, then I can do this. And
Huh.
it just keeps me like this is a stim thing that I'll do to
Mm.
just keep myself occupied or keep myself here.
Mm-hmm.
But when my nails are really nice and manicured, they're really nice to play with. There's like something that I'll do to keep myself paying attention to whatever's going on around me.
Yes.
So sensory inputs like that. I have ooh, actually, this is something I can show you. My Kindle.
Yeah.
I have it's like I don't know
Uh,
if you can see, but this is super textured.
it's like a braille-ish texture on the
Yeah,
back of the Kindle.
and it's
Yeah.
right where I hold the book.
Mm.
So it's just something that I can be touching, rubbing. But
Yeah.
sensory input is huge for me.
Mm.
Anything that's like a slightly different texture that's that I can hold on to that is near or around me.
And it doesn't distract you. It pulls you in to whatever it is you're
Yeah,
doing.
because it's something for my body to do while my brain is occupied
Yeah.
because I'm nowhere near crocheting or knitting while watching TV, you know?
Yeah.
But I love reading. I I want to keep my attention focused on the reading, but my body wants to run away and do something else. So what
Mm-hmm.
do? I'll put something that'll keep me stimulated because the alternative is snacking.
Mm.
Snacking as a form of stimulation
Mm.
is huge
Mm.
in, like, for me and my family, not great.
Yeah.
So some other kind of physical stimulation to keep the body occupied while the brain is doing the thing that the brain wants to do.
Yeah. Interesting.
Hmm Furry things and textured things.
Furry things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I have like this furry tail thing.
Mhm.
Tail. I
Yeah.
don't know. TBT to the
But you can.
burning stuff. But it's a little furry tail. It's great to take out when you're out partying because it's just like a soft thing to
Yeah.
hold on to, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Terrible, but this is why you buy secondhand. If you don't have a pet, get a fur coat, put it somewhere,
Oh.
get like a fur rug, put it somewhere, and just be touching it. I'm entertaining myself. And if you see me having a conversation with someone and I'm wearing a furry coat, I'm gonna be touching myself. Keeps me contained, keeps me present,
Yes.
and then we're having great conversation.
This is great. This is what I'm talking about. This is these are strategies for like how do I navigate the world and yeah. Mm. Um okay. This feels like a good time to ask you for a question.
Okay. Oh, me. Yes, I already had one in my brain.
Oh, nice. Okay. So, yeah. What question would you pass on to the next person that I speak with, not knowing who they are?
Okay.
And we did this one a little bit out of order,
Mm-hmm.
like I asked earlier. Usually I'll ask around now, so that, or like nearish the end of our conversation, so that I can ask a question, we can like talk about it a bit, and then I can get
Okay.
your question. So like think about it as maybe, yeah.
Um,
Also, if you want to use the one that came to your brain earlier, go with that. It doesn't matter what it is.
well, I have a question, which is what is something that you do to manage yourself when you feel yourself slipping away from a conversation?
Mm, that's a really good question.
Yeah. And it was essentially what I just answered with my strategy, but
Mm,
I'm intrigued to know what others do.
mm. Can I answer?
Yeah.
I have two answers to this.
Okay.
If I'm getting pulled away from a conversation like 2 or 3 times by my attention, sometimes I'll realize that I'm not very invested in the conversation and I will leave. And I'm okay with that. I'm like if I, sometimes it's because I'm not interested in the conversation. Sometimes it's just that there's like too much going on and it doesn't matter who it is or what we're talking about. I need
Yeah.
to like move and do something because there's too much energy in my body. So like, there's a couple of reasons that I might not be able to focus. If I really want to be in the conversation and it, it's important to me to be there, I will sometimes say to the person, "Hey, can we move? Can we like? I want to keep talking, but there's too much going on. Can we go over here?" That really helps changing environment for me.
Mm-hmm.
Another one is similar to what you were talking about with like some kind of stimulation. I will put my thumb and forefinger like so close together that they're just touching and then move them back and forward so that I can like feel the ridges on my thumb and forefinger, but you have to do it so lightly that you can only just feel the ridges. And like that amount of presence for me kind of like brings me, yeah, into my body enough. And I move it really slowly. So it's like It's like a connection with my spirit, connection with God kind of
That's cool.
practice. Yeah. Um,
That's such a light sensory touch.
yeah. It takes a
I'm
lot of
like,
focus.
here I am rubbing like firm textured things and furry things and my calluses and my getting scraped by my nails. And you're like, I'm going to touch the ridges of each finger to the other finger so lightly.
But here's the thing is I can ignore it if I do this. If I just rub my like thumb and forefinger together, I can ignore it and it doesn't do what it's supposed to, which is like bring me back and focus me. If I do it really, really lightly, then I have to like bring myself to do it intentionally.
It
And
doesn't
that's
work for me.
no.
I'm glad it works for you.
Me too. It's great. Um The other thing I have been doing, and this is so simple and something that I do often, is like just breathe. Like breath is an input for all sorts of things. And breathing like
Yeah.
right into your belly. It's like, oh man, I'm getting distracted or I'm feeling anxious or whatever it is. Like, I'm going to take a breath. And it doesn't, I used to feel self-conscious about this and now I just have done it enough that I don't care if I'm like building up a lot of energy, shaking.
Yeah.
So like, just like,
Take it out. I'll sigh a lot. I
mm,
used to get questioned for sighing, and it's really just another sensory input of needing to release
mhm,
air or
yeah,
tension. I do the thing that you do of, hey, let's move. And it's usually because I'm thinking like, oh, I want to get some water, but I also want to be in this conversation. Like I want to do this thing, but I also want to be doing
yeah,
this other thing. So walk with me.
yeah. What I find interesting too is like sometimes the conversations that I'm in that are most interesting are also ones that have a certain amount of friction for me that are like, oh, that's a bit uncomfortable. That's a bit like I still want to be in it, but um, it's bringing stuff up. And one of the things I've noticed that my body does to get me out of situations like that where it's a bit uncomfortable is only to pee. My body
Oh,
will be like, oh, you need to go to the
get out of
bathroom.
here.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, oh, this is a logical reason for you to leave this conversation. And when that happens, just kind of out of the blue, I'm like, oh, maybe this is an edgy topic for me.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, I mean, it's a classic avoidance technique in the elementary school classroom, and I think in classrooms in general. Can I go to the
yeah,
bathroom? You just
yeah,
peed.
yeah.
Is this lesson
But
hard for you?
it's like it's a pretty fail safe because, and I remember doing this at elementary school as well. Like, can I go to the bathroom? No, you want me to pee on the floor right here? Like,
You're old enough to hold.
yeah, teachers didn't usually call my bluff, but I feel
We
like
do,
if you were my,
they do that now. Like,
yeah,
we can say you need to practice holding.
mm,
You were given
that's,
time to go. Like, we will do bathroom breaks during transitions. You were given time to go. I saw you go.
mm,
You need to hold until
yeah,
there's a good time.
yeah. So that is something that my body will do. Be like, hey, you need
Yeah.
to go and deal with something. Oh, I'm thirsty. Oh, I need to pee. Oh, I need to do something that's legitimate.
Yeah.
Um,
It's cool that you've
yeah,
noticed that though.
yeah. It took a while to notice it. I noticed it on a retreat that we were going to do something that was like emotionally difficult.
Hmm.
And each time that happened, I would need to go to the bathroom before I did it. And I was like, oh, this is just my body's strategy of not
Yeah.
wanting to do the difficult thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good catch because, you know, that's a space where you are isolated enough and targeting sensations and feelings in a way that when something comes up, there's a direct correlation and
Mm,
you can see it happen in real time as opposed to when it's within all the noise of living in a city and doing daily life stuff.
yeah. There's also like, there's a lot of nuance to it, and it takes really paying attention to it to understand the differences. But like last night, I was like running around and I forgot to eat dinner. Or I didn't forget, I just didn't have time to eat dinner. And by the time I was going to go to sleep, it was late and I was tired and I was just like ready to be out. And I had this feeling in my stomach that felt like anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And I was lying
Like,
there and
what? Describe the feeling.
um, the feeling was like this kind of tightness in my stomach. Um, kind of felt like a pressure, kind of felt like a pulling, um, I don't know if I'll be able to articulate the difference, but I realized that there was the logical thing of that I hadn't eaten any food, so there was a possibility that it was just that. And then I was like feeling into it, and it's such a subtle difference to me,
Mm-hmm.
like this kind of empty, gnawing
Like a
feeling,
clench.
like a clench, yeah, like right in your solar plexus, right in your
Mm-hmm.
belly. Um, And I guess now that I'm describing it, to me, anxiety sometimes feels like that and sometimes feels like it in my chest.
Yeah.
Um, and
Like your gut is clenching.
yeah, exactly. Like
Mm.
it's empty and it's trying to like do something with something in there, but
Yeah.
there's nothing in there. And so I was like, there might be like a little bit of anxiety here. And maybe it's also that I haven't eaten. And maybe it's a mixture of that I haven't eaten and my body is like, hey, there's something wrong. So
Yeah.
like there is this like melting pot of these feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then recently I've been experiencing this other feeling, which is like a warm kind of burning sensation in my chest, but it's a like pleasant kind of excited feeling that I've been getting when I have certain conversations or like when I hear poetry that's really moving. And it's a new feeling. So it feels like slightly, it's not that it feels uncomfortable, it feels unfamiliar.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like experiencing it and learning it as a feeling that is new. Um, which is interesting because a part of me is like, oh, this is a new feeling. That's scary. And then another
Yeah.
part of me is like, oh, this is a new feeling, but it's not scary because it's bad. It feels this way because it's new. And
Mm-hmm.
therefore, scary is actually not the right word to use. Like, it's like I haven't, I guess
You
either
don't
I
know
haven't
it.
tried to articulate it enough. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't know it, so it's unfamiliar, and that is you're trepidatious.
Yeah. 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 I'm being cautious about this new feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah.
That's so fascinating. Because how often do you stumble across new feelings, like
Yeah.
physically and emotionally?
Mm. Yeah. For me, very, very seldom. I analyze or I like I like go into these things. I pay attention to the feelings when they come up, especially when they're new. And so I think I have quite a deep lexicon of emotions and what they mean to me. What is the experience like for you? How often do you find new feelings?
I don't know about new, but coming up against new situations and feeling
Mm.
familiar feelings,
Mm.
like stepping into something, a space that's new, and feeling an array of feelings and going like, okay, I'm feeling this in my body, this in my head. It could be this, it could be that, but really it's that I'm interacting with people I don't know. I'm stepping into a new space and my body is doing all of the things that it would do when I do those things. Man, I don't, is it, I don't know what it means to say that I haven't felt a new feeling in my body, but also I can say that my awareness of where my feelings are in my body is still developing.
Mm.
It's easier to pinpoint things like frustration, anxiety, fear, sadness, anger
Mm.
right now. Uh,
Known,
known
known
feeling,
feelings.
but also, there are feelings of happiness, like the positive stuff. I feel like they don't embody so strongly,
Mm.
or at least I'm not recognizing where they're embodying, but I'll catch myself just having a smile on my face. Just feeling pleasant. Pleasant enough that my
Yeah,
face is smiling without me telling it to smile.
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Outside of that, I don't know where pleasantness necessarily lives in my person,
Mm.
but all the other feelings, like the darker, more nebulous stuff, throat downward.
Mm.
It's like throat to sacral is just churning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there certain parts of your body that like light up, or is it
Yeah,
all that?
it's usually my throat and my chest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard some people describe their spleen having a lot to say.
Oh,
Yeah. I don't
yeah.
know what that feels
It's
like.
it's usually like a burning in my throat because I'm holding something back that I really want to say, and it just
Mm.
sits in there, or it's like my chest to my diaphragm feels just super clenched up and hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this is
Yeah. I get
yeah.
a lump here,
Yeah.
base of my throat.
Yeah.
Thing is, it means a lot of different things. It can mean a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm starting to realize, or I I read this in a book somewhere, but that feeling of anxiety
Mm.
could also be like it's very similar to the feeling of excitement, to the feeling of something new. Like you were
Mm.
saying, often lives in the same place, often comes with similar things, like doing a performance on stage, doing something new, doing a presentation, being put in the spot. What if it's not anxiety? What if it's thrill, new endeavor,
Yeah.
never before taken steps?
Hmm.
And
and we
that's
conflate.
right. Like, why the
Yes.
negative association? Why not the positive association?
Hmm. I can give you an answer. Humans generally are risk averse.
Right. And
We,
we're negative Nancy's.
yeah, but it's survival. It's survival and then thrival.
Mm-hmm.
So from a survival perspective, the safest thing to do is when I feel an emotion, when I feel a sensation,
Mm-hmm.
I associate it with something that could harm me so that
Right.
I make sure that that doesn't happen. So like the cure for
Overcorrecting.
anxiety for me is action.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and for a lot of people, sometimes that means like lying on the ground and kicking your feet like this. That often will like dissipate my anxiety. Go for a run, do something that moves your
Mm-hmm.
body, that tells your brain and your body, I felt this thing, I'm doing something about it.
Yeah.
Um, but like from a survival perspective, it makes sense that we first of all have the anxiety and then go, maybe it's excitement, maybe it's this other thing.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to pause and do exactly what you're talking about of, oh, maybe it's actually a positive that I'm feeling
Yeah.
this way is a powerful tool.
Mm-hmm. I like yeah, I'm feeling something and I'm going to do something physical about it
Mm,
just to dissipate that
mm,
or absorb it, take control of it, bring it back to me.
yeah. I really like applied science, applied math, applied economics, applied psychology. So this, like to me, the purpose of information, it's nice by itself, but the purpose of
Sure.
information is action. So like, oh, my
Right.
body's giving me information. What can I do with it?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Information for information's sake is cool, but then what are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
But it's formed to actually do things with the information that you have.
Yeah. And then when you do things, it creates more information because usually doing things requires interaction with something that is not just you.
Mm-hmm.
And like you can spend your whole life ruminating, going back and forward, like with things that are in your brain. But I already know everything that's going on. I've probably thought all of the thoughts already that are inside me. If I want new things, I need to do that externally.
Well, if you want new thoughts, you got to go out and do stuff so that the thoughts you already have get used up.
Yeah. They need friends to play with.
They need friends to play with. So you go out and you do things, you do the thoughts that you think about, and then you get new thoughts. Expending creativity in order to derive further creativity. It's an ADHD nightmare
Hmm. Tell me more.
because there's this overwhelming task allocation
Mm-hmm.
of I want to do this thing,
Mm-hmm.
or I wonder if this thing could be cool to do. But to do this thing, it requires me doing A to Z
Mm.
to get there.
What if it only requires one action?
No, that's not how it works. Because to get to the one action, you have to move your body, pick
Uh-huh.
up your feet.
Uh-huh.
It's maybe it's like too much of a breakdown. So you can either have no breakdown, or you can
Uh-huh.
have a little bit of a breakdown that's helpful, or you can have too
Uh-huh.
much of a breakdown and it becomes unhelpful,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like every single thing just becomes a barrier to doing the thing that you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I've actually got it in my notes. I have a note widget or like a reminder widget that
Yeah.
says, do the thing.
Yeah.
It's just, if you see a
Do the
need,
thing.
do the thing.
Yeah.
And that's been keeping me just a little bit more course corrected on don't think so much about what it's going to take to do the thing,
Mm-hmm.
to try
Do
and
the thing.
get through. Yeah, like what I said about it takes me longer from verbalizing the thing I want to do to actually doing it
Mm-hmm.
and seeking to make that time period shorter.
Mm-hmm. I'm really interested in a reframe on this because I love this thought and I love where you're taking it. And my derivative of the expending creativity to create more creativity, like I wonder how that can be a reinforcing loop. I wonder how the being creative creates more creativity. And maybe I sometimes think about open loops,
Mm.
like that creativity is opening a bunch of doors, but having a bunch of doors open is cognitively expensive. And so closing the loops is an important part of this whole process.
Mm-hmm.
And so what does it mean to are we emptying our creativity bucket
Well,
so that it can collect more?
maybe what if your bucket is constantly being filled, but when
Mm-hmm.
it's at a brim and it's overflowing, then you're losing stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? Stuff's just not getting in. So what you need to do is make some splashes,
Mm-hmm.
make a mess,
Mm-hmm.
and empty out the bucket so that fresh things come in. And the bucket's never going to get full if you keep using it.
Mm-hmm.
The ideas are going to keep coming in.
Yeah. Yeah. It's this, we need to create space for
Right.
the new things to come in. So then the question is, what action actually creates space rather than the frame that you're talking about, which is in order to create the space, I need to do all of these tasks, which in itself fills the bucket or in itself like kind of blocks up the pipes, you know?
Mm, no, I think that's bringing two ideas into one. So there's the
Okay.
expend creativity, like put your ideas into action,
Mm-hmm.
because once you release the ideas out into the world, other ideas will come into your brain, or you'll have space in your brain for other ideas
Yep.
because you've already sent these ones out
Mm-hmm.
and you're primed to bring new ones in.
Mm-hmm.
That's one idea or one thought. And then another thought is to get to a place of action can sometimes require a lot of energy to prime myself.
My
So
computer's running out of battery.
what can I do to prime myself quicker to just do the thing, whether it's going to be good or not,
Mm-hmm.
which I think will positively affect just creative things, right? If I can get
Yeah.
myself to do things quicker, I can do more things and get more things out of my brain so that my brain is ready for new ideas to come in.
And yeah. Yeah. How can I get good at? And it's very individual. Like the
Mm-hmm.
things that empty my bucket are probably different to the things that empty your bucket.
Yeah.
Mm. I love talking to you.
I
I'm
love
glad we
talking to
made
you
time.
too. Yeah. It's really interesting to see where our brains overlap
Mm.
and where they don't. Because there is like a general thread of commonality.
The Venn diagram is strong. What I'm curious about is if I even understand where our brains don't overlap, if I can even comprehend how your brain works, or if I actually need to have had the experience of that to be able to see that part of your circle. Does that
I
make
don't
sense?
know. I wonder, because we'd be limited by my ability to explain my experience
Mm.
and your ability to language-wise understand like the words that I'm saying, the emotions that I'm trying to convey through your perspective. So there's just so many filters that dilute what would be going on in my head and what you'd be receiving if we were talking about disparate things.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we would be able to do it if we had a common domain that we both knew very well. Like if we had a controlled set of things to talk about, and then I talked about how I experienced. I mean, maybe we're doing this just in a very like broad way. But if we picked one topic that we both know a ton about, like say we both knew all of the cereals that are ever produced, and I talked about how I categorize them and how I think about the ingredients and how like I think about the supply chain, all of these things, and then you talked about that, but with the same set of cereal.
Should we pick a topic and do some research about it and come back?
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Because this is not how we got to this, but what it reminds me of is a while ago, someone asked me if I could explain to them how my brain works. And I started trying, and then I was like, oh, I don't know if I can, I understand for myself how a lot of these processes work, like enough to be able to navigate and like live the life that I want to live. I don't know if I understand my brain well enough to like explain it to somebody else.
Yeah. It's very challenging because I think I'd be able to explain some pieces, but also the same way that if we go back to you, well, both of us agreeing that examples are difficult.
Yeah.
But vibes are easy. Like I can give you the vibe of my brain, but unless we're in a thing and my brain does a thing and I can immediately point it out to you, I don't know that I can pull out just random examples cold. There may be a couple, right? A couple of strong ones that you've had over and over again that you've practiced and repeated and you've just got it in your memory now as like, oh yeah, my brain does XYZ and ABC times.
Yeah.
But for so many of the nuances, unless we're in it and I turn to you and say, this is how my brain works, or unless you notice, oh, this is how your brain works, then it's vibes. I can give you a general sense that my brain is not like everyone else's brain.
Yeah.
Though we really need to move
that.
away from everyone having the same kind of brain.
Yeah. And even the false categorization of, well, maybe it's not false, it's just not entirely accurate, of like neurodivergence versus what do you call it? Neurotypical? Yeah. Like that neurotypical is not a real thing. It's just, I guess, different levels of divergence from typical.
From standard, I don't know. There are more predominant patterns of behavior there are people who are more inclined towards logical and rational tasks or methodical tasks or things that require more left brain activity or more right brain activity. And then you see like the systems that have been set up and who succeeds in them and who doesn't, even within structures of power. Even though structures of power are tailored towards certain populations, you still see within those populations who succeeds and who doesn't. And there are then common patterns amongst those folk. And it's interesting, but if that's then that's what's considered the standard, but that's not. Like, all comes back to who decides what the standard is. What is the standard? Should there even be one?
Yeah. And the standard is moving. And the standard is moving for many different reasons. Like there's so many variables.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like we should pick a topic so that we can play this
Have
game.
our PowerPoint party?
Have a PowerPoint party. Hell yeah. And then
I think it'd be really interesting if we picked a topic and we got maybe a couple more people to really see how different folks approach the same topic.
I'm going to be the control. I'm the standard.
Okay. In this world, you might as well be.
No, this sounds like fun. Okay. But let's pick a topic that we actually want to know stuff about, because I've got a lot of information in my head that is not actually, it ends up being weirdly relevant, but I don't want to do cereal is what I'm saying.
Right.
I don't even eat cereal.
I haven't had cereal in a long time.
How about
architectural architectural forms, like pick one that everyone
I was going to say the ocean.
The ocean? Ooh, yeah. Love the ocean.
Because you can take that, and yeah, I love the ocean too. We can take it in different directions. We can explore any part of that.
Big?
Yeah, maybe. How about like, how to understand the ocean? Because then the lens of it is what's important to you when you understand something. How do you structure the story of this thing if you're trying to understand it? You know? Does it still feel too big?
No. I think the topic of the ocean and then subtitling it as an explanation of how to understand the ocean or teach us how to understand the ocean could be the lens with which people are encouraged to approach the topic.
Yeah. Okay. And then presentation format. So I'm thinking like we have 10 minutes and whatever way we want to present.
10 slides.
10 slides. Okay.
That's it. Because anything more than 10 slides, I think is going to be too much.
Yeah, I agree.
And if folks are feeling like 10 slides is too much, 5 slides.
Yeah. Max 10 slides.
Max 10. Try to keep it at 5.
Yeah. And I'm also thinking like, say we have 6 people, which is quite a few, but like say there are 6 people and we do like 10 or 15 minutes each. That's like an hour long thing.
Hour and a half.
Hour and a half. It's manageable.
Yeah,
Um,
90
if it's
minutes. We can do
if
that.
it's just the two of us, we can do whatever
Yeah.
we want about this. But I think this, yeah, I like the structure.
Yeah, 90 minutes. You think 10 slides is too much?
No, I think max 10 slides is good.
Okay.
I'm probably going to use less than 10, but
Yeah.
we do need some like creative constraints, you know?
Yeah. 10 slides feels more concrete as a limit than time
Mm.
because I know like folks can ramble,
Mhm.
but if you have to get to 10, you'll move. And
Mhm.
if we say about 10 to 15 minutes per person, I think that should be fine.
Perfect.
Okay.
Timeline on this, knowing that it could be a procrastination task.
Yeah.
Like, let's
Well,
give
first we're
ourselves a
gonna have to
couple of
get 6
weeks.
people.
No, we don't need to get 6 people first. We just set a date,
Okay.
and then whoever wants to like play,
Do it.
knowing
Whoever
what the
wants to
deadline
play the
is.
game will play the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Perfect.
When can we do
Um,
this?
let's do. hmm, Well, look at my
Like
calendar.
early September? 3
Yeah,
weeks? 2 weeks?
I'm gonna be on a retreat from the 31st of August. So either before the 25th of August or after the 7th of September.
Okay, let's do. Ooh. Well, I don't know. Damn. I've got a presentation due on the 3rd of September and then I leave on the 13th. Is after the 7th too short a time for you?
After the 7th of
September.
September. No, that's
Yeah.
perfect.
Okay.
Let's do the 7th or 8th of September.
This okay, 7th is Labor Day. You think that's going to be tough for people?
Maybe. Let's do the 8th of September.
Okay. All right. Let's do the 8th. Ocean presentation.
Yes.
I'm going to add you to it and then we'll figure out timing and stuff like that later.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay,
We will.
cool.
We will. You're going to be in Singapore, right?
Yes.
Nice. I'm going to be in Europe.
Okay.
Yeah.
A little earlier on the overlap, unless we have folks from the US.
Yeah. Let's see
Cool.
how we go.
Let's see who wants to do this.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, also, I'm going to release this like today or tomorrow. So,
You're
well,
gonna like cut and edit and
no.
the whole thing?
I can, but I believe that humans should be unedited and like
Okay.
it's for us. It's so that we can have a conversation. It's so we can pull out clips. It's so we can do what we want.
That's
I
fair.
didn't really give you a lot of context when we were coming in.
I mean, I really hope I didn't say wrong things. If I said something wrong, you're welcome to come find me through some format
Mm,
and politely correct with sources.
mhm.
Because at the end of the day, it's my thoughts from my head coming out through some sort of filter.
Yeah. Same with everybody's. Um,
Disclaimer.
you're amazing.
You're amazing too.
I will, well, I'm going to push stop recording in a second and we'll still be here. So,
Okay.
ciao for now.